So this is all the video you're going to get. I just want to quickly say hello. I'm going to dive into Mandelbulber, and there's a laser behind me, but ignore that. We're not doing lasering today. We're doing fractals today. And I just want to dive into Mandelbulber and record what I'm doing. So this is all you're going to get in my face, and then I won't have to worry about editing all that video, and that way I'll be able to get that out to you. So I'm going to be interrupted today several times, and I'm just going to pause everything and hopefully just edit that out. But I won't have to sync up everything. So I'm just going to talk, do some Mandelbulber stuff, and today we're going to do traplights. That's what I want to do. I want to do traplights, and I'm going to do the hell out of traplights. And I'd like to do fractal-less-Traplights and then put it all together in post and really have some fun. So that's what I plan to do, and just we're going to have some fun. I don't know what I'm going to do. Don't know where I'm going to start. Don't know where I'm going to end. I'm just going to record it all and have some fun. All right, let's get to it. Well, good morning, everyone. It is 7:35 on your 8 April here in sunny Detroit metro area. And we're going to make traplights today, weather and news report aside. Mandelbulber, I've got a screenshot going here. I'm just going to record my workflow, and it's going to be dirty and horrible and ugly and not pretty. And I'm going to edit a bunch of it and get it out to you. And I'm not going to show my face other than a quick intro, and that way I don't have to mess with that. So just get my voice here, and I'm going to make some traplights. And I don't know what we're going to do and where we're going to go, but we're going to have fun doing it. At least I am, and hopefully you'll enjoy the journey. I use Windows Remote. Windows Remote. See, I'm not ready to do this. Windows Desktop Connection, Remote Desktop Connection, RDC. I use that to connect to various computers that I have, and I have several computers. My main computer, this one here, is it's an it's right there. I just had to embiggen this. AMD Ryzen Threadripper 2990WX 32 core, and it's got 64 threads. And you know, honestly, I use it for video. I don't use it for Mandelbulber at all. It's fairly wasted in Mandelbulber, but when I do need to do a CPU render, man, I got the thing to run it with. You'll see my GPU is running 70% just doing this little tutorial. It can run fractals and do this at the same time, I've discovered, as I've done in several tutorials, but I'm not going to use this main machine. I'm going to let it just record this video, and I'm actually going to remote desktop into one of my other two machines here. This is my Pagan Pro PC, which I'm looking at the stats on it. This is also known as the Render Beast, so AKA the Render Beast. In fact, I really should just change the name of this computer to Render Beast, and I've just added that to my list of things to do. I never thought of that, and I should do more of these things. I wonder what other thoughts I'll get that I don't normally have, just speaking out loud to myself, because I'm not a crazy man that you know of, I hope. Anyway, this CPU, as we were going to check, is I've had it for a few years. It used to be my supercomputer. It's an i7 5960X, and it has 8 cores, 16 threads, which was fancy and expensive and cool at the time, and now is just still cool and expensive and fancy, but it's not new anymore. On it, I have 5 GPUs, which are, do I have to go all the way to get big? Oh, actually, I need to pull this over, don't I? Let's try just pulling that. Hey, look at that. Okay. I have 5 GPUs. They are RTX 2070s, and then one of them is my GTX 1080 Ti. I find that they're very similar. In fact, in some situations, I've actually clocked the 1080 Ti higher than the 2070, but usually I believe the 2070s outperform the 1080 Ti's. Opinions differ on those, but for my system, that's what I got. That's the Render Beast. I actually have the capability to slot in a 6th GPU, but that other 6th GPU actually has been kind of janky when I've implemented it. It didn't work very well, and honestly, 5 was enough. And if I'm doing displacement texture maps, I have a long load up for each GPU, so the more I add, the longer each render takes until there's a diminishing point where adding more GPUs takes more time to run them than they're worth rendering. 5 seems to be a sweet spot here, and that's what I use, and that's what I got too. I mean, not like I can just go out and buy massive amounts of GPUs anymore in the age of COVID and mining. Okay, here we are. I'm just chatting here as I stall for what we're going to do. Well, not even stall. I mean, I'm not even started. Let's see. Hit render. I have no idea what's going on here. Oh, default Mandelbulber. Cool. Then I don't have to go back to anything. What we want to do today is traplights. Dun dun dun, Traplights and Mandelbulber. I have a whole tutorial on Traplights and Mandelbulber, and I think it really rocks. It's a great tutorial. I have a lot of fun. I go through a lot of it. It's not perfect. There's things, lots of things I've discovered about Traplights since that video, actually. But the bulk of most of what is known about Traplights is in my Traplighting in Mandelbulber video, and I highly recommend it, and you should really check it out. And it's a style that I do of these videos. I often end up just making an animation because that's what I do. I animate things. Oh, look at that static picture of a mandelbulb. Oh, we must animate it. We must move it around. See, already I'm excited just moving this mandelbulb around. And that's not what we're meant to do today. We are not meant to do that today. So what we're going to do is make traplights. Obviously, we got to first kill the background to make it black, because you can't have traplights without it really being black. So we're over here in the background. I don't know how much I'm going to explain what I'm doing. I will explain everything I'm doing. I can't help it. I'm a teacher. And so just bear with me when I tell you things you know. We're going to change the background to black. And also what's really cool is you're going to see me do things and say, why is Steve doing that? And honestly, there may be a better way to do things, and we all get into habits and we do things the way we know to do things. And when you watch somebody else's processes, you might suddenly say, oh God, I could have done that the whole time. Why am I doing it this way? So that's one benefit to be gained, but it's also a benefit to be gained for me, because someone's going to say inevitably, Steve, do you know you could just do blah 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 blah, which when we get to materials, I'm going to try that out. Christoph showed me a new, in fact I want to do it already, a new way to get my panes ready so I can put one pane in with the other pane. Let's see, how do I do that? I should really have played with that before I started doing this video. Let me just pull, I think it's a matter of pulling the window out and putting it at the bottom. Oops, sorry, I don't know what I just hit. Putting it at the bottom of that's it. Except I think I did it in reverse. Yes, I think I was supposed to put this one below that one. That would make more sense. So maybe I can just swap them, or put them both in here and then drag one of the. Oh, I just messed up all my windows. Okay, let's see. So we have materials here, but I don't. Material editor is what I need to put back up into here. See, that wasn't too horrible. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me. So basically, put the material editor at the bottom of your material pane, so you don't have to flip back and forth between the two, which is an awesome idea. Unfortunately, it's only going to be something that I'm going to do when I'm heavily working with the materials, because otherwise it takes up its own pane now. And I don't want it to take up its own pane. I want it to share. Okay, there we go. So I want these two panes to lock together, and so that I can then flip back and forth. That's it. That would be the GUI change I'm looking for, Christoph. I've just now articulated it. So how somehow lock these two together so I can go to the render pane and not still have the material pane below this. But I do like this split pane effect here. In fact, this video has now been validated because I've been meaning to explain to Christoph what my issues are, and he walked me through how doing this will absolutely help me. And honestly, the only problem was simply I had to click from here to here to here to here, which was not a big deal. It really wasn't. But there was a better way, and Christoph showed me just to put this pane down here. But I think there's an even better way if we could somehow lock these into one pane that would then is the material pane, and this would be the sub pane of the material pane, maybe. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think on that. I'm happy to hear. That's not what I'm doing this video, though. We're supposed to be making traplights. But, you know, you get lots of value out of this video, and maybe I can chop it up and use it for one thing or another. Let's pause and take a meta-technical look at our levels and see how we're doing, because I don't want to have to redo a whole bunch of video. So this tells me that, oh, if I don't speak too, yeah, I can crush the volumes pretty good here. But this is about the level that I plan to speak and want to speak, and that's right in the yellow. You know, how many years of digital sound synthesis and studio technology do I have? And here I am showing you guys bad audio. Well, you want to get a as signal as you possibly can without clipping is the easy go-to answer to all of audio. And then add multiple complexity to it. Anyway, so now I got to get rid of this material pane that I just put here, because it's really going to get in the way of rocking it out. But I can just, oops, almost. I can slide it there we go, back into the master pane. And I like just having the one master pane. So part of this problem with my interface issues is my own creation, because I just like to work in a certain workflow. And I wish that Mandelbulber would work with me in that workflow. So let's go effects. That's what we want. We want effects. We got the black background. Lights. Here's where we're at. Here's what we came for, is the orbit trap lights. Orbit trap lights in the house. And I'm going to turn on auto refresh, which is something that I use for tutorials, but I sometimes I use it in my own workflow. The problem with using it in my own workflow is that it really slows things down when you start doing intensive stuff. I don't want to start with point off the bat, so we'll go with... Man, I really got in a rut recently, just going right to the sphere and cubes and not even playing with any other things. Lines. Why lines? I don't know, but I've discovered that line is sometimes not a line. Sometimes line is a circle. And with that tease, I don't think that's where we're going today, but that is something cool. I have to say I'm going to change the light to gold, just as a matter of taste. You don't buy traplights.co because you don't love trap lights, and I love the gold trap lights. I often go to the 0 iteration, and I'm just going to go through my habits. I usually always take off the surface light because I want it deliberately when I want it, and don't want it when I don't want it. I often take the iteration down to 0 just to get the maximum amount of light going, just so I can figure out what's going on. And I thought I'd change this color. Well, you look at my processes and you go, Steve, but you didn't do okay or whatever. I did do okay. And then we're getting no lights at all on the default Mandelbulb. Sometimes just doubling this will get me there. There we go. We're starting to see some stuff. So, got some light. What I need to do next then real quick is go to the volumetric pane. And I wanted just to get some lights to calibrate this, but this is really the first thing that I need to do is change the custom DE step multiplier for volumetric effects. The default is 1, and I guess we're going to zoom in here. We are going to zoom in here. Ooh, that was way too much. Probably, step 2? Why we had step 2? I don't know. I literally don't know. The default is 0.5. I didn't change it, but who knows. Mandelbulber is strange and mysterious, and I've been playing with it for about 6 years now, and I love it to death, and still, it's very strange and mysterious. We can see lots of noise in our lights, and we need to change the custom DE step multiplier. I'm going to have it, which won't get me quite there. I know 2.5 sometimes will work, 1.25 often works, but really 0.625 is where I go to consistently in every context, just because I know that's going to get me a good result. And I have the power to hang with that. It doesn't slow my computer down too much, but that tightens up that bulb a lot. That's already looking really sweet, actually. It almost looks like a modulus Mandelbulb, with the spikes. And just flipping, what's the word I'm looking for? Rotating that in a cool way. Well, let's get cool then. First off, let's start saving some stuff. Now this is not my workflow. Normally in my workflow, I wouldn't even start saving for, a while until I had something cool. But we're going to start saving here because that's what's good to do. We're saving in our default username Mandelbulber settings folder. I think that's a good workflow and a good idea to do. Just cracked my knuckles because I can. All right, we're going to go call this trap. You got to use words twice to make them really cool. Trap mania. What's my workflow going to be today? Am I going to give things a fancy name, or am I going to go trap mania 1, 2, 3 point, just keep chunking numbers on there until I'm done? That is my normal workflow. Let's do timestamps instead, and I'm going to go. Oh Jesus, do I got to do all that? Today's date, and then today is the 8th, and then we go timestamp of 0749, and then that just keeps track. I mean, it's in the it's really kind of silly to do it that way. That's what I do in a work context, and I guess I'll just apply that now. That's what I do with my music. Frankly, I'm way more organized with my music than I am with my Mandelbulber stuff. Maybe because I actually am you know, I do music. That's what I am. I'm a musician, and I'm just a fractal knot by, well, let's get meta and let's get deep. You're going to get Steve live. You're going to get the commentary. You are what you do, and I do fractals, so I'm a fractal knot. All right, that's far enough. We need to go into that. Let's make these fractal-less traplights. We do that by, well, we're going to go to Object, Hybrid, oh, there's Geo. What's up, GG? GG's meow. And you get that too when you listen to Steve Sync on the tutorials. You get Geo the cat, and if you like cats, you're loving that. Boolean Operators is what we're turning on. Let's get back to work here, Steve. We're just going to leave it as union, and we're just going to leave the one formula, but then turning Boolean operators, when we go back to our Mandelbulber formula here, which I rarely use the Mandelbulber. Well, I don't know why I'm staying with the Mandelbulber, but we'll worry about, I guess, formulas later. Right now, I just want to move this. We go to transform, fractal positioning. My go-to is just to stick 100. Boom. And you saw that jet out of the way. Man, that looks odd. I've never seen that blue thing before. Let me do this at 1,000, just see what that does. Okay, okay. That was surprising. 50 then. Okay. 50 was enough to get it off screen, but without changing materially the fractal. Honestly, guys, I've never seen that before. This is interesting. Usually 100 will just clear it off screen. In this case, 100. What did we wrap around the universe and it came back the other side? That's crazy. All right, have it though. All right, and then now back here at FX is where I want to go. Volumetric. Yeah, that looks noisy though. Well, I guess in the main image adjustment. Well, we didn't change our settings first off. Ray marching, I typically want to go down to like 1/4, and that seems to catch noise from every kind of fractal I'm going to do until I get to some specific ones, and then we'll get low. But just 1/4 works fine. In fact, 1/2 works fine a lot of times. 1 works fine a lot of times, depending on what you're doing. Basically, you know, certain fractals formulas are just going to be noisier than others. Geo is just climbing all around my entire studio while I'm doing this. He just loves to get on camera, and he thinks he's on camera, but he's not. You're just in the audio, cat. Anyway, see, this is why I need to do video. Back to the fractal, Steve. God, you got lots to edit out of here. All right, back to work. Back to fractal work. So I've got the traplights showing without the shape. Honestly, I like the shape in there better within the fractal-less traplights. But let's change out a formula. Let's go to a different formula. In fact, actually, let's change the size first. Image adjustment, and I want to go to there, and then stay at a detail level of 1. Actually, that's probably supposed to be 4. Because when I go to connect fractal detail with image resolution, and then crank that to 4K, it's going to look like that, which is what yeah, there we go. That's what I would want it to look like. So I'm going to go down to my 1/4 K, I call it. Well, it's not 1/4 K, it's 1K. Yeah, it's basically 1K. 4K halved and then halved. That's my standard working draft size because it's 69 resolution, and I'm going to output in 4K, and I just do 1K. That's my standard workflow. Don't play with any of those values now. We just want shapes. And then, so we're going to go to the formula object, fractals. So what do we want to do? Well, you know, before I change the formula, I want to play with this. I'm not convinced that we don't have something cool already. I had to go to 64, probably back that down to 32. There we go. There we go. In fact, maybe even 16. Thickness, maybe. Double the thickness. That's not going to get me what I want. No. Unless I also Perhaps if yeah, so I'm just going to seesaw between visibility and thickness. They, in this context, pretty much function for each other. I'm going to leave the thickness at 1. Softness. I want a little bit of that fog in there. I like that. So I'm going to keep the softness where it's at, actually. I like these little dark sparks coming off of the lighter spark. It's still really super noisy. I guess we're just at a low resolution. Let me see. Let me go back to 4K. Yeah, I see. That's bad. That's fine. Now this could be cool. Imagine this spinning around. All right. Let's just stay with the standard Mandelbulber. I guess I'm just going to show you some simple processes. I'm not going to get fancy until the video suddenly goes to. I decide to whip out 8K displacement maps. Where am I going here? I want to go back to my main computer where I want to put everything on the network drive. So wrong one. This H drive is actually my original computer we started with. It's M.2 drive, which is pretty fast, and I'm just going to make a new folder, and it's going to be Trap Mania. In fact, it's going to be T2 Mania. I don't want my file names to get too long, because I'm going to probably start nesting inside this folder, which inevitably, the first iteration I do goes in the main folder, and then I decide to start creating subfolders, and then I always have to go back and then scoop everything up and put it in a folder. And so now that I said that, let's make a subfolder. I don't even know what it's going to be, but new folder test. All right, we'll see if that's going to get us what we want. I want to get in a little bigger too, or a little closer rather. Okay, that did not do what I thought it was going to do. What just happened? Why can I not go closer to the... I mean, there's no... There we go. Okay, it was just a big movement. I'm like, wait a second, is something going on here? Why am I cannot move in close? Now, I can't click on the screen to get closer because I moved the fractal off. And that's one thing that's worth mentioning, is that there's nowhere to click on this to set focus or distance or to get distance. I'm not getting anything off of this fractal. These lights exist in a pure plane of energy with no readings from them. You'll notice that my cursor holds over there. I get nothing from that. If I were to, just for purposes of demonstration, go back to the object pane, put that back to the default by hitting R. Now suddenly you'll watch, look at this. I have all these settings come up. The heads-up display shows me move camera and target. It shows me distance. It shows me the distance from every point along this fractal. But when I move it off screen, Mandelbulber thinks there's nothing here, yet the traplights stay. The traplights say, hey, buddy, we are here. We are proud and strong. Whatever is going on with the main fractal, we are influenced by it. Were I to morph this shape, it will morph this traplight. But like in a quantum state, like wax eloquent here, in a quantum state of superposition, the fractal, the traplights are influenced by the fractal, but yet they're not bound to it. So they remain in the location while the object is somewhere 50 movements to the right here, or to the right, down the x-axis. I kind of want to get that a little more centered. You see now I need to fine-tune my step even more and go back up. Darn it, wrong way. I swear I have less than a 50-50 chance of knowing which way my arrows go whenever I need to move them. And I always move the wrong way and have to move back. All right, so that's roughly centered. You'll see that my cursor shows that we are a little bit... There we go. We look to be fairly close to the middle. I'm still not perfectly lined up, but that's going to be good enough. Kind of like it back where it was before. Let's take a look here. What do we got going on here? Roll. Oh, that's close enough to 0. That should probably be 0. See, that didn't materially change anything. All right, but pitch and yaw, we're going to leave those alone. What's my default values for those? Oh, that's close to default. Yeah, I'm going to set those to default since they were that close to default anyway. And then go back up and move. And it's still not there. Still got to fine tune. Half again. See, I can only move this fractal by the fine tuning methods here. I cannot use any of my mouse methods. I can't mouse navigate at all in this fractal-less-Traplight world. But that's the world we're going to play in because, you know, this was a secret that I'd kept to myself for a while because I thought, you know, hey, it's a new technique. Let me be the only one who can do this. Guys, if you know me, you know that is so not my style. I'm like, hey, I got a new thing here. Everybody must know it. So, you know, I could keep this all to myself and just reap all that valuable fractal moolah that's coming in from knowing this stuff. No one gives a crap if that I know this stuff. Not even you guys listening. But I do know this stuff and I'm sharing it with you. So now you know it. Damn, that's looking, I'm just going to interrupt. That's looking kind of cool now, actually. I bet you I'm still in 4K world, aren't I? I'm just fast enough here, and this renders quickly enough that I don't care. Yeah, I am. Oh, I guess I'll go back to 1K world, but that still looks cool enough. That's not bad, though. And this is going to look really cool because I'm going to take this object. I made a keyframe here, and I'm going to make 4 keyframes here. So now we're already in animation mode. I'm just going to go right to it, guys. This is me purely just doing what I do. That's good or bad or indifferent, but here you are. We're going along for the ride. So since we have no fractal, I don't need, by the way, that light map is invalid, but let me turn it here just so I can reset it to default. I don't know, that I'm not OCD, but that bothers me when things show warnings. I don't need ray trace reflections or ambient occlusion, and when I turn them off, you'll see it doesn't change fractal at all, but it would slow it down otherwise. Cool. So really what I need is I need the volumetric multiplier, and I need this ray marching step multiplier in control. The detail level actually doesn't change a lot for fractal-less-Traplights, because when I go to watch this, I'm going to go to, I mean, did you notice any change at all? I mean, literally, no. There we go. We're starting to finally get some little bit of change when I go way down in detail. So the detail really doesn't matter with these. I'm going to go back to 4 just in case, so that when we go to 4K, it'll back down to 1. All right. But already this is cool. But this is what I want to do. I'm delaying it because what I love to do to a Mandelbulb. In fact, I look for formulas that have some Mandelbulb roots and DNA to them, just so I can do the angle, alpha angle and the beta angle offset. And what do these do? What does the alpha and angle beta offset do? Well, we're going to add it to keyframe animation, and I'm going to show you what it does. It is one of my favorite ways to morph a Mandelbulb. And I'm actually going to go back to here, not to here, object, oh sorry, I'm going to go with fractals. I'm going to put that fractal back in just so you can see what it's doing to the fractal. We're going to morph that over the course of these 4 frames here. I need to pull in more. Computers into Netrender. I changed the size of my fonts, and now I had to move that over to get everything to fit on screen. It's not Mandelbulber's fault, I don't think. Let's take all this through one entire 360 rotation. So interpolate to 4, 360. And if you don't know how to interpolate keyframe values across keyframes, this is how you do it. Right click on it, interpolate next keyframe, enter the number of the last keyframe and the value you want the last one to be, and it'll stretch that value across 4, which 4 divided by 360 is 90. So we're going to go 90, 180, 270, boom, 360. That is going to morph this whole shape, and it's going to look like, in fact, I'm going to pull in at least one other computer. Shoot. shoot, what computers can we pull in? I'm going to go to my Ryzen here, which I'm using for lasering. And actually, one of its 2 video cards does not have power connected to it. Yet, do I get it? No, it only shows me the one. Okay, I was going to say earlier it was showing me both GPUs when only one of them has power connected to it. That other one is sitting in there in the slot and may come back online. I don't even know if this is going to work. Let's see. Let me go. Well, let me hit render first. And go back to my pane here. What do we have? Yeah, just the one 980. I normally have 2 980s on this remote computer here, which is next to the lasers in the laser fractals laboratory. So render, you see it's already set up to be a client at Pagan Pro PC with the default remote server 5555. We're going to connect to it. So you're going to get to see Netrender stuff. It says reconnecting, and because I don't have the server running over back at Pagan Pro. So let me click back to Pagan Pro, go to the rendering tab where it's set for server on that 55555, and we launch client, and then boom, you're going to watch Ryzen pop in there. Boom, Ryzen pops in. Let's stretch that out a little bit so we can see what's in here. Maybe, yeah, that's good. It's going to have the name, the host, how many CPUs it has on it, which it has. It's also another 8 CPU, 16 thread, 8 core, 16 thread chip. You know, I'm going to try and see if I can use, since we're just making drafts, we'll see if it makes the video choppy. I'm going to go to the main computer, connect it also, and then make sure that I have it minimized, because if I accidentally touch one of those buttons while it's in Netrender mode, it will start doing crazy funky things. That's a known bug. Okay, so now I have 2. I have Ryzen 2990 and then my regular Ryzen with the 64 threads and the 16 threads. They're both connected, and we just want to make some quick short. Boom. And now you get to see, this is what the alpha and beta offsets do to the morphing of a Mandelbulb. One of my favorite easy, simple alpha angle offset and beta angle offset. One of my favorite simple things to do to a Mandelbulb. Super fun. And then we're going to do the same thing again. Let's go back and look at our main computer, see how we're doing on our CPU. See, look, the tutorial plus Mandelbulber is barely 3/4 of this card, so we're running with no stuttering, unless the video is stuttering, and I won't know until I go back and watch it. But that's given us, let's go back to the rendering pane so I can track how many frames each one's doing. Yeah, see, Ryzen, it's only doing half the number of frames it should be doing because it only has one card working. I just need I was using the Render Beast as a power supply for it, and now I have it separately by the lasers, and it needs a new power supply, so it can't run 2 cards. And I actually have another power supply, and I just need to hook it up. So much to do, so little time. What I did not want to do was hook up another power supply just to get that one other card, although now I'd have 50 more frames if I had done that. But I wouldn't be talking to you now because I'd still be working on that. So this is in real time waiting for this to process. I mean, it's 400 frames. All the effects turned off basically just to show you. See, now the main one finished, and we're still gonna, let's see how we got, they're gonna make another 7 frames, so we'll just let them do that. One's finished, and then Ryzen's finished. There we go, we got our 400 frames, and we'll play those, which kind of works wonky because we're doing a couple of things. We're doing this through remote desktop connection, and then we're filming it through OBS Studios. So that's what the alpha and the beta offsets do. I can show you just one or the other, but this is both of them going at the same time. And you'll see we're not moving the Mandelbulb, we're not rotating the Mandelbulb, but yet the whole shape is dynamically rotating. And if we were on top of that, that would be really cool. it looks almost like the power is changing, but it's not. So this is a great way to morph a Mandelbulb, and it's a great way to morph any formula that has a Mandelbulb in it. I always look, does it have an alpha angle offset and a beta angle offset? Because if it does, I'm doing this to it. I'm just telling you. Let me turn that off. Okay, so that's what it does. Delete all those out. See, we have 1K images that are just crap images. That's the world I live in. These are many people's final images in many processes, but not any world I live in. We're doing high speed stuff here. Let's go back and move that Mandelbulb back to its 50 position. I have auto refresh turned off. And now let's take a look at what this light, there we go, you see? Now that light, the flames, the fire, the traplights are going to dynamically move as the Mandelbulb moves and morphs. So that is pretty kick-ass. I'll let that run and do some work stuff while that's running, and this is a good time to pause, and we'll come back and look at that. And we're back. That really was only gone for just a second. I just needed to do an email. I was barely gone. See, we're not even done with this render yet. Had to answer an email quickly. I'm actually taking leave here. I'm just jumping into the video before I took leave, trying to finish up some work. Actually got the work finished and started the video too early. So when my boss watches this Mandelbulber fractal tutorial, which he won't, rest assured I'm off the clock. I'm actually working for free, not the reverse. Let's see. I'm supposed to be at the dentist today, which will happen later. I had this extra time and decided, let me do that. Frames, one computer still working, close enough. $399, there's the 400. So let's see, if I embiggen this, we're going to have all kinds of streaming problems. So I'm not going to embiggen that stream. Look at that. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I mean, you know, that's like a whole animation for some people. That, I mean, we're barely even started. I mean, but many times I'd be very happy to just have that. Now, what we could do is we could layer a bunch of these on top of each other. We could do one that's let's do the same exact thing. Well, here we go. Here's a great workflow and proof of principle workflow. You get something done like this, and then you just do variations, and that's where those folders are going to come in handy. So let's normally I'd run all these at 4K and just let them run. Let's see how long this would take at 4K, and then we'll come back to it. I don't have to have ray tracing or volumetric or any of that stuff on. I'll just crank it up to 4K, put it in a folder that's not test. Let me go up. We're in the main. That's really small, super small writing. That's one of the problems with remote desktop connections, and different font sizes don't always translate. Let's call it gold lines bulb, because that's what we have. We have gold, we have lines, and the gold's probably irrelevant. But anyway, gold lines bulb. That is my workflow. We're going to stay in JPEGs, although alpha embedded PNGs would be pretty damn useful, wouldn't they? Have a transparent background. Oh, shit. Is that what my workflow is going to be today? Well, we're going to change that to PNG. We're going to go to Program Preferences, which takes a while, and I don't know why. There we go. Images. I got alpha and Z buffers set to go. I guess, let me make some bigger screens here. Append alpha to image. Oops. Append alpha to image, PNG and TIFF. That's what we want to do. We want to append the alpha to the image, and we're going to use just in case. I don't know that I need to, and I've finally figured out how to get around having a background that's transparent when you don't want it. We won't get into that. That's post-production stuff. But we're going to do alpha embedded PNGs, and we're going to do them at 4K just to fill that folder. And we got, is that enough? Is 400 frames enough? I should have taken another look at that. Ah, damn it. I guess we'll do 800. And then if that's not going to work, it's not going to work. Okay, let's get that started, and then we'll come back to it. What do I got? I got 2 computers set up here. Actually, I could set up a third. I could set up my son's gaming desktop, which I believe... Oh, he's sleeping. We're going to see if he's even up. God, I hope we don't have any surprises going into his computer. He's usually very conscientious about resetting everything to default, so I can't see whatever he's playing with. We're going to open up a third Mandelbulber here. This has got a 1080 on it, not a 1080 Ti, but just a regular old 1080. Already set up to go Netrender. Boom. That gives us a third computer for net rendering, which we like. Back to Pagan Pro, which is going to be renamed Render Beast one of these days. There we go. We got 3 computers set up to do 4K. How long is this going to take per frame? Oh, look at that. 3 seconds. It's going to take longer to save the frame than it will to generate it because we're using PNGs. Look how long it's going to take to save each frame. But that's fine. It's going to take up a lot of space too. Don't care. All right, we're just going to let that run. That's going to be, it says an hour. I bet you it'll take 40 minutes if it takes an hour tops. This is definitely a good place to stop, though. We'll stop here and we'll come back. Okay, back here at Mandelbulber Land, we're done. That took 40 minutes. I thought 30-some, but okay, 40. Let's see if I can even see. Oh gosh, yeah, we have embedded PNGs that aren't going to show us the black background, so we're going to look a bit weird. We'll look at that in post, and it'll look better. In fact, we might just have to go to post right now just to look at that. And yeah, I think I'm going to have to go to post to look at that. Oh gosh. Let's go to post. Well, let me just bring up, oh gosh. You want to see workflow, you're going to see workflow. Adobe Premiere Pro is what I use, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's I hate it too, but I love it. I've used it so much every day for just years and years and years and years now. I really should start doing tutorials on Adobe Premiere Pro. Although there's things that I learn daily. Anyway, let's give this a name. Where are we at? We're at Trap Mania. Is that what we're doing today? Trap Mania. And boom, I immediately throw this pane over to here. Double clicked, import media to start. I'm double clicking. Oh, we want to go to that H drive, which you see H drive, T2 Mania, and we were cool and put things in a separate folder. Gold line bulb. I'm going to select the first one here, hit image sequence, and open. That's going to import that automatically at 30 frames per second because that's what I have the default at. I'm going to change that to, oh gosh, gold lines is what I'm going to call that. It's 800. Oh, let's make a new sequence from clip, or I could have just dragged it into here to find it. And is it going to give me, there we go. It didn't show the background. By default, it will not show me that background, so we can, I mean, it'll show a black background is what I'm trying to say, and so that we can see what's going on. There's a workaround too to turn off the embedded background, and I'll have to think about what it is. It's alpha something, and let's just see what it is. Alpha adjust. That would make sense. Alpha adjust, throw it on the, oops, sorry. This is not After Effects. This is, there we go. I'll do it that way. Alpha adjust, just ignore alpha. And that's what we want to do, ignore alpha, because you see, look at all that detail we're losing from the alpha layer. I think we want to actually use these not as embedded PNGs, but actually JPEGs, and then in After Effects or wherever we're at, we want to add the value. Since we have the black background, we have nothing else going on here except the fractal. And we lose a lot of data were we to... Well, the other thing I can do is, actually, I'm going to pull this up to line 4. This is my process workflow. Let me go back here, and before we get too busy on what we're doing here, let's bring in some more. Let's bring in the alpha layer. Why are there no... because we did an embedded PNG. Silly. Z buffer, that's what I'm looking for. And there's no Z buffer because there's no distance value. Okay, so there's a lesson that I not learned but reminded of. These are completely wasted. There's no value in these. They're all going to be empty. There's no distance information because the fractal's gone. There's just that traplight. So the Z buffer is empty, and the alpha is going to be empty because we embedded the alpha inside the PNGs. Okay, so let me cancel that out. We are just going to deal with just one. I'm going to move that back to line 1. We're just going to deal with this, and I turned off the background, so they ignore alpha. We do want that on. I can just hit my enter button, and that'll quickly render this preview. We did 800 frames. See, and this is why I have this chip. Is it using the chip? Look at that. 64 threads crunching away on the preview, and it'll just take a few seconds to deliver us 800 frames. It's also, I believe, using the GPU, but although I can't tell how much it's using it from the tutorial and how much it's using it from Adobe Premiere. This was a lot. I mean, we could have just pulled this in that virtual dub, which I often do to get a draft quickly, but we didn't. We pulled it into Adobe Premiere. All right, here we go. And then I can embiggen this. There we go. That, in just a few seconds, was what we created. That looks pretty darn cool. You can see the fractal actually through the traplights outline the fractal. This is also a perfect loop because we did 360 loop. And so this will just keep looping forever. That was done in, why is it? We didn't hit the continue. We didn't hit this button right there, which I added to my workflow. I use it all the time. But we want to want that to loop forever. So this time, that was a good choice to go to 800 frames. Good choice, Steve, in hindsight, because we would have done this at 400 and then decided, can I get that a little longer and a little slower? That's decent right there. What do we want to do with that? Do we want to do a variation of that? Do we want to do another color? Color changes are best done in post. I mean, there's no sense in rendering this entire thing out just to get those traplights in red when I can just do in post and turn them red. So before I used to redo a whole bunch of colors versions, and then I realized, dude, you can just change the color in post. Why are you doing this? This is a stupid waste of time and frames. So at some point that looped, and we didn't even see where. It hasn't looped yet. Damn it. Well, look at that seamless loop. Okay, that's awesome. Cool. What do we want to do with that? Well, we can't really put a background image onto it unless we put this on top of it. Let's bring in some stars. Let me go to H drive. Oh gosh, where am I looking? I'm looking for star fields, and I have this movie I made in After Effects. Oops, let me try it again. Drag it under there. Now we turn the alpha layer off, so instead I want to go to Effects. Where is the blend mode? Let's go screen, and then that way it puts it on top of the stars. Are they going to blend together nicely? Yes. See, that was nice, and we're not actually using the alpha embedded PNGs. If I were to turn those off, which would be, let's just turn alpha just off. See, yuck. That's not bad, and if we had started with that, we would know no different. But no, I don't like that at all. Let's add these back. There we go. That fog in there, we really need that. Okay. That's a quick animation right there. 800 frames. Is that it? No. We barely begun. But what else can we do with that? Different shapes. We could try. Let's just try. Then we did lines. Let's try a different shape. That's the easy thing to do. Let's just go back then to Pagan Pro. Let's make a new folder for this. Oh, we need to start saving. Shoot. Nope. I almost did a bad thing. We did not save. That was really bad of me. We have not saved this at all. Trapmania. We're at 940 now. And then I'm going to say gold lines. And this file name is going to get longer and longer and longer. Saved. Okay, now let's set up a new one. Let's go. I guess I need to determine this ahead of time. We'll go Trapmania. Let's call gold circle. I've just committed myself to doing circles now. And now I got to do circles and spheres and squares and all that. Well, if we end up, and then we have to save this now because we have a new variation. And this is now called gold circles. Probably should have changed the timestamp too to 941 instead of 940. Let's not get too pedantic. Pedantic is your word for today. Overly critical and Englishy. Let me see what I want to do here. Image, effects, lights. Instead of line, we're going to do circle. Let's see what that looks like. Now we haven't rotated the trap lights at all, which that's probably what we should have done before we switched shapes. Look at that. That was not what I expected to see at all. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, so what are we going to do with that? Obviously we need to tighten that up. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go down to here and make some quick, let's make a quick, let's change that to JPEG. Control P will bring up this. We don't need to save the alpha or the Z buffers. Those aren't doing anything for us but slowing us down dealing with traps, unfortunately. We're going to go back to JPEGs and we're at 1K size. And let's render this out. Let's just watch it as it goes. Okay, so that's what I thought. It was just going to mainly move that circle around. But I was curious how the alpha and beta offsets, when they rotated, were going to move those circles. I think those circles need to be bigger and darker, or brighter actually, not darker. All right, that was enough to see what's going on with that. I just wanted to see what effect those would have. Yeah. Okay, so I can imagine what that's going to be. That's not bad. I feel like I need a larger shape, or shape size. Let me go back to auto refresh and increase the shape size. Then I gotta increase the thickness or the, I don't know, we'll play around here, we'll see what we get. Ooh, that's done it. Right there, that's it. That's the money shot right there. Let me delete out all that and let's take a look at what that effect looks like now. Render, go over here to our render farm and see what we got. Got the net render. Oh, that's nice. That's very nice. There's more we could do with that. Rotating those circles would be cool. I want to see them rotate like there's a line in the middle of them horizontally and they just flip around and rotate. We can do that very easily. Oh, we know what this looks like now. That was just proof of concept. Or that was just a check of what does this look like. So that's going to look like that. And then that's going to be very cool. What to do? Well, let's save first off. And now I got to go back into my timestamp. I got to get the right button here too. 944 gold circles. And this is where we start adding numbers. 1. All right. I'm already embarrassed of my process flow. But let's see. I feel like I want to rotate those. Can I rotate those? Add to keyframe animation. Click on my auto refresh. What does it look like to rotate, say, the X 90? Nothing. 45? Nothing. Okay, so that's rotating on a axis that makes no sense to us at this orientation. That is the money shot. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Look how cool that is. Oh man, we're gonna have a lot of fun with that. And let's take a look at the Z. What does it look like when we rotate the Z? That was unexpected. That's unexpected. I want to play with the Z before we go to the Y. So we just added this parameter. I'm going to slide this back over again so I can see it. The Z, let me extrapolate across 4 keyframes, our value of 360 again. And that's what the intermediate frames are going to look like. Just clicking on them, which you can just click on the thumbnail to find out what you're going to see. Delete all the images. Back over here to rendering, make sure we got 3 connected, hit render animation, and let's watch a little bit of what's going to happen as, let's look at the values that we're morphing. We're morphing this rotation Z here. As the Z value morphs along with the alpha and beta rotation, what are we going to get? Well, do I need to watch all this? Let me let that run out to say 400 just to get an idea of what, at least a half rotation. I think the first half is going to look exactly like the second half, which is another thing we can sometimes do. You can sometimes let these things only run to 180 because the back half is going to look exactly like the first half. Just a pro tip there. I don't know if this one will do that for us, and we have time to burn and power to burn, and this is easy to render. Oh, that's probably good enough. It looks like we're getting back to the basic shape. Yeah, stop that. I'm going to look at this animation. How is that going to look just doing the Z? Not as cool as I was hoping. I hate to combine variables together, so let me not concatenate or add together. Let me go back, reset that, go 4, and then just hit 0, and that'll put 0 back through it. Now let's do this again. Go through 4, hit 360, delete all the images. You see, and I can already tell that these are going to be some more interesting frames. Look at that. That's pretty cool. All right. Render that up. So this one's going to jump to frame 67 or 63, while the other 3 are all rendering the values lower than that. And then hopefully they'll all finish up near the end. Let's just give it a couple hundred because that looks kind of cool. And this is not taking very long at all. Look at that. That's that area right in there with that flower pattern. That could be cool. Areas to explore here with the fractals. Yes, very cool. What am I getting a notification? I'm going to have to pause. I think OBS was telling me it didn't like running the card while recording at the same time, I think. And so I'm going to, just on the abundance of caution, kill Mandelbulber in this instance and go back. Oh, what happened here? What happened here? Stop server. Launch server, wait for clients. How many did we get? Oh, we were almost done. Okay. Take a look at it. So this is just morphing that Y axis on the trap lights. That is pretty cool. Yeah, that's definitely useful. That could be done. That's a whole run that could happen. Let's save this, and if I had Q that worked for animation, I'd add this to my queue and we just run them all when we're done, but we don't. So let me save what we got here. Where we at gold circles. See, I'm totally lost on version control. No, this is Y rot trap. See, the lines are these names are gonna get longer and longer and longer, and then I'm gonna end up having to go back and reshorten them just to get them to fit. So we know what that looks like. I'm really tempted to add the Z to it now and do both. Yes, let's do that for 360. And so they'll both work together, and that materially changed the scene. I can see, yeah. And let's add in the X. Sure, why not? Is that going to do anything? See, this is bad science to change more than one variable at a time, but we're going to add all three. Delete it out. If we have to, we'll kill that X. I just want to see what that's going to look like. In the meantime, I have one less CPU working now, or GPU working now, but, you know, that's fine. None of these are working at their maximum speed. I could actually load up multiple instances of those other servers, or clients rather, and let me demonstrate. Oh, so if we were at Ryzen, well, I don't have two CPUs to do that with. Let me not. Let's just see what we got. Let's go to, say, 253 and see how that's going to work. I'm liking all this. I really liked sometimes the X not doing anything by itself, but it will do something in conjunction with rotating the Y and the Z. A better mathematician than me, or just somebody who simply can do directions. I'm horrible at navigation and finding directions. Somebody probably can just do these in their head and say, well, if I rotate in the Y, it'll look like this. I often don't know until I do it, and I always get the Y and the Z's confused, and what I think will just spin the fractal around on the Z axis doesn't. I have to use the Y, and I'm... Anyway, that looks really cool. Let me let that keep going here for a bit. I see nothing but good things coming out of this. I like the flower shape there at the bottom. I like this crown shape at the top. I like these waves. This is just a very interesting fractal and very dynamic. A very dynamic traplight. Oh, that sphincter. I'll call it a sphincter. I'm sorry. There at the bottom looks cool. Flower sounds much better, doesn't it? But that is cool. If we paused it right in there and made some nice crown of thorns kind of thing, that could be cool. You know, lots of possibilities. And this is circle. We still have you know, square and sphere and all that other to play with. But I think this is worthy. I'll run a version of this at 16K. That's good enough. Let me let it go to 400 since we got this far. Stop it. Show animation. That should be one complete loop. Roughly, yeah. That's going to be about one complete rotation anyway. That's pretty cool. Dynamic. There are circle parts, wavy parts. Yeah, okay. We'll put that one in the can then. Delete. Make sure I'm not doing something stupid. Delete them all. Go back to image adjustment. Crank it up to 4K. Turn. Since I'm going to do the master here, I really want that other card going, so I am going to re-engage. Re-engage, connect it to the server, minimize it so I don't mess with it while it's running, get it out of the way, and then I'll stop when we actually do the rendering here and let that render. So there we go. We got 3 clients back up. We're going to go back to... Am I doing embedded PNGs? Am I still doing that? I need to decide now before I get too far down just doing all these embedded PNGs. Is there any reason why I can't do JPEG? Because I'm not using the alpha layer at all. I'm going to do JPEGs, and if that was the wrong decision, then it was the wrong decision. Run that. That's going to take 54 minutes, probably another 40 minutes. We'll come back. Okay. We are done with that one. Let me take a quick look at what that looks like. 738. We are not done. Oh, God. So sometimes killing a client and then bringing it back in causes Mandelbulber to get confused. And it didn't... It thought it rendered all the frames, but it missed about 60 or so. So one thing I'm going to go in, and I'm going to go to each of the clients. I'm going to hit disconnect and then reconnect. There's Ryzen. Let's go to my son's man cave, disconnect and reconnect. Let's go back to this one, disconnect and reconnect. And honestly, if I only need 60 more, it may not be worth it to engage all the clients, but we will do that anyway. They are fairly quick. And it should go back and pick up all those frames that it missed now. Sometimes killing one of the clients confuses it about what frames have been rendered and what haven't. And even when you go back and try to redo it again, it says, I've already rendered those frames. Why are you telling me to render again? I don't know. That often happens. These are issues that pretty much, as one of the sole Netrenderers that I know of, other than maybe Tracy Page, these are just issues that we have that you learn to get around. They're not even bugs. They're just, well, I don't know. Christoph has very limited time to do stuff, and honestly, tweaking little things here and there, I often don't even tell him stuff because I don't want to just flood him with every single little thing. And often things get fixed in subsequent updates, and then I do a tutorial and Christoph says, oh, I didn't know you were having that issue. Why didn't you tell me earlier? And I'm like, I don't know, because I've got issues, not in that sense, but I mean, I've got Mandelbulber issues that I forget about until I get into the middle of them. And I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, make that thing stop or add this thing. They are very small issues. By and large, I really love Mandelbulber. It's a great program. The interface is, okay, stop talking here, Steve. 775, man, why am I getting why is it taking so long? 775, none of these other frames are working? There it is. They're just much slower than my main machine here. So I am going to stop the servers and render out the rest of the frames just using the render beast. And then those are really quick. So, and minute 22. And that's just because those other frames didn't get rendered. Normally, Mandelbulber is great about dividing up the frames between all the clients and distributing the workload. But in this case, I killed one of the clients mid-render and Mandelbulber got confused. It's easier just to finish rendering it out with this. All right, that's going to take a minute. So let's go back then to this. We've got Premiere Pro. We're going to get ready to bring in our next project. So let me go ahead and new bin from project, and this is going to be gold lines. And then we'll prepare gold circles. This is going to be our second bin, and let's go ahead and double click that to take us there. And now we're ready to start importing things. Hopefully Mandelbulber in 20 seconds it will be done. Let's make sure we're not missing any frames. 796, yeah, we're going to pick up this last 3 frames. Now 2. All right, and that is one complete, and I often, even though I've saved already, I often will go back and just save a version. As soon as I've ran a render, I save that version because maybe I made some tweaks before I hit render animation and didn't save it. It's just a good part of my process. Anytime something gets rendered, save that file. Ideally save it before you render it because it's going to crash. But all right, let's go ahead and import this now. Double click here, go back to Trap 2T Mania, gold circles this time. And now we don't have any alpha layers or Z buffers, A to Z, alpha Z. We just have this color image because we're doing PNG, JPEG, excuse me. Let's call that gold circles, which I misspelled. That's okay. I don't get too caught up in all that. New sequence from clip. And that's our animation. That was using X, Y, and Z traplights rotating all 3. And that's using the alpha and beta offset of the Mandelbulb to morph the shape with the fractal itself off screen. That's pretty cool. Oh, we could also do the same thing with this one and add, I should probably pull this out, and there you go. That everybody can use this star field here. Pull that even. We're gonna have to go to effects, change the blend mode to screen, and there's various different effect. Each one of these would possibly do different things. Sometimes I use where's it? Add color, is it color burn? Which one is it that I use? Lighter color. Lighter color is one I often use. And in this case, it didn't really change much. If I had a better example, we'd see more. Screen works generally. Let me go ahead and hit enter to get a preview going there. Yeah, you see this preview is not using the GPU at all. It doesn't look like the GPU budged at all from recording this tutorial, but the CPU, we've got most of our 64 threads cranking away. And this is why I got this chip, so that these long, interminable waits for video previews would be as short as possible. Nothing sucks like waiting for video to preview. And I have a pretty good video card here. This is actually I didn't mention it before I realized, this is a 2070 here on this main computer as well. I could have 5 2070s on the Render Beast, but I want to keep one 2070 to do video processing, because when it does final video, that RTX 2070 will just eat through massive video and do H.265. So I get a lot of value out of having that video card here and not on the Render Beast. The 1080 Ti is on the Render Beast, and I use the 2070 on this. So this is our finished product. The lights don't look like they're really interrupting the surface here, so I'm going to say that that blends together very nicely. Can we put a couple of them together? Well, let's go new sequence from footage and new sequence from clip, and let me go back to here and throw in that one, and now we got the two together. Oh, I guess I want the gold circles first. Click the background there, delete that, that'll slide it all over. That's a trick I learned recently that I use all the time now. Click on that so that it'll loop. So this is our thing. We could have those two scenes together, possibly. What does that look like? This one I would need to also go screen. This is, I think, where lighter color actually is going to come into play. Yeah, we got two going. Let me try lighter color. Yeah, you see that keeps it from doubling up too much. The same, look at that. See, that's using screen mode to blend the two, but if we go to lighter color, it basically keeps them from doubling each other. I like that. Let's take a look and see what that double blended two traplights together works like. We're at 84 on our CPU, at least in the 80s. I use Task Manager all the time. By the way, Control Shift Escape will bring up Task Manager. Control Shift Escape. It's extremely useful. You know about Control Alt Delete, of course, but then you have to select Task Manager from the menu. If you just hit Control Shift Escape, that'll pull up Task Manager. I use it often to make sure my video cards are connected, to make sure that the drives are all engaged, to see how the CPU is running, to see how the GPU is running. Now, depending on what we're doing, the GPU value returned in Task Manager is accurate. It often is not accurate when we're doing Mandelbulber renders, because Windows is good at figuring out whether you're doing video or not, video encoding and decoding, 3D copy, but it's very confused at OpenCL. Sometimes it can clearly say you're using 100% of your chip. Other times it'll tell you your chip's going on and off and on and off when it's not. It's not doing that at all. Well, anyway, this video's done now. So this is the two traplight scenes together, just to see if that works. Didn't know if that was going to work. Man, I can't really see. So basically it's this shape with the fire inside it is what we got. If that was a different color, that might be even more useful. What do we got for change colors in... I don't normally change colors inside Premiere Pro. I'd go to After Effects. You know, let me not even mess with that. Let me try turning that in reverse and putting them against each other. So one's going the other way. That's another thing you can often do. When you have these little loops and you're blending them together, you can counter them, run them against each other. In this context, I really need to separate out another color. I need to add another color to that. The gold on gold is, it just looks like one shape, but it's not. It's two, and I want it to look like two. That's taken a bit. Putting that in reverse, yeah, that's really confusing it. It doesn't know how to properly divide that job up amongst 64 threads, but it's doing pretty good. There it goes, up to 99. It's going to do it in chunks, looks like. I didn't have to actually preview the whole entire thing either. I could have just done half of it to see what it looks like, but I'm committed to it now. And if I could stop it now and it would just display those 400 or so frames, but no, it would, if I stopped it now, it would pretend it had previewed none of them or rendered none of the preview. See what we got here. Okay, running those against each other, that's cool. We definitely need we need a color change here. What do I got to change colors? In Alpha, in Adobe Premiere Pro. Hue is actually what I want to change, and I believe it is, there's a legacy hue. There's no hue? No hue. Definitely that's an After Effects then. What do we got for color? Before I had to pull all this in. Change to color? Could it be that easy? Tint. Oh, there's a bunch of ways we could do this. A bunch of ways. I'm just looking through all these different ways actually. We'll just do change to color. And from gold to red. Okay, let's make that blue. I think I want tolerance. I want there we go. I want more of I want a wider effect. Saturation, lightness. Honestly, I don't know why I'm playing with this one. I need to just pull it into change by transforming to color. Interesting. Let's just run a little bit of that instead of running the whole thing. That was a trick that took me forever to figure out. There's so many things with complicated software that you just don't figure out. And then you watch tutorials, which sometimes the value of the tutorial is just giving you new process flows and workarounds and ways to do stuff, and not necessarily learning something that you're watching the tutorial specifically to learn. Now that's cool. Look at that. That's very cool. I like that. I feel like I want to flip these around, but that's very cool. That's an effect that I wouldn't have gotten actually doing what I intended to do in After Effects. So unintentional happy accident. Oh, if I put some glow on that, oh man. Put some glow on that. Maybe I want these differently. How do I, that's also lighter color. Let me try one of them on top of the other one. I don't know if it makes any difference one being on top of the other, but I also turned both of them to lighter color mode so that they'll add together, or they won't add together. It'll just take the lighter color. I'm not sure how it works, but I like the effect of of that setting, even if I can't explain exactly what it's doing. Well, from visually, it looks like instead of adding the brightness together, it takes their average value or the lower value or the higher, one of the values. But anyway, that's a cool effect. Just so I can figure out what's going on. The top one is that blue. That is really cool. Glow. What do I have for glows inside? Again, all my effects are in After Effects. We might just have to go to After Effects here in a second. Alpha glow? No. Edge glow, glimmer. Let me try something like star. Should be a star glow in here somewhere. Star glow from Trap Code. That literally did nothing. I see no effect. Oh, a little bit. Yeah, I do see a little bit. Let me try adding it to both sides then. There we go. Here we got the glow going. You see that? Yeah. That may be a bit too much, actually. Well, we have different values too. Let's try like the sunset blood. There we go. Let that render just those last, 100 frames or so. Wow, this is going, by the way, this is bad efficiency. Normally, I would have Mandelbulber rendering the next variant while I'm looking at all this. That's pretty cool. I'm going to save that. I'm going to kill the clear in and out, but hold down Alt and scroll, and then scroll backwards with Shift. Let me go back to Mandelbulber and effects. Okay, let me take a pause here real quick and I'll be back. Okay, so are we done? Is that it? We have a creation? Well, I really got to render that whole thing out, don't I? Back here at Mandelbulber, circle. I'm just going to set this up for the next one. I'm going to do square. Square. Roll that in. Do I want to change the color? I could change the color right now and not do it later. But let me just save this file. Save settings. Where are we at now? Well, we are definitely not 944. So let me update with 1108. And we're at now doing squares. Yeah, we're doing squares, and we rotated all three values. So I'm just gonna say rot trap. That's a bad naming convention, but it's better than not saving it at all. Square. What does that look like? Oh, we actually have to change the square. Let me save that then. Save settings. Save. Yes. I rarely replace settings. I usually just save them again with a new name just in case. But when I'm absolutely positive that if I got one value, I do change that. Let's try that again now. Compiling. It's got to rethink because it's doing a whole new shape. See that did not materially change. Let's go to small size and launch our server. Pick up our clients. I guess it doesn't matter if main. Yeah, that's almost done anyway. That was a nice time waster. Look at that, 100% of the CPU, and we're done. Oops, wrong one. That's fairly cool. I don't like, maybe we got too much going on there, a little too much with the glow, but I can live with that. I can live with that. I can live with what we got right here. That's pretty cool. You know, oh, golly bob, gee, what am I going to do? Am I going to boost the light, streak length, capacity? It would have, yeah. See, it appears that the original is already washed out. So, yeah, I could take that down to 50, and it basically eliminates the star glow. The reason it's that washed out is because the original was just that washed out. Okay. I could, yeah, that's it. That's pretty much what we're going to do. We're going to call that done. What else would I want to do to that? It occurs to me that I have double the star background going, which is fine, but I've added both star backgrounds together instead of rather than just using one. That's fine. That makes that even busier in the back, which is great. Just by the way, though, that is incorporating both of those. And we see that star glow is working great on the stars, which is what it's intended to do. We'll call that good and done. I'm going to say Control S, save, Control M. I'm going to output this. I'm going to H265. I have a no, actually, I want to use one of my presets, but I'm going to take off the audio since we don't have audio. But I'm doing that to render at maximum depth and get the hardware encoding going. And that's why I have that RTX 2070 video card on this computer. The other things that we're interested in looking at is its constant bit rate, 60 megabytes per second, highest quality. This is my go-to settings for everything that I publish. And I get compliments on the quality of my renders, and I personally believe it is directly attributable to partly to rendering everything in 4K, which helps. Well, that's probably 90% of it. But the other 10% or whatever is using the HVC 265 high encoding video codec, high efficiency video codec, I believe is HE. Anyway, a lot of talk. I hit Q. Oh, I guess I want to put that someplace. I want to put that probably in the folder where Trap Mania resides. Yeah, not just H. I'll just click on it, left click on it, and then go to Trap Mania, new folder, and I often just call it video creatively. Sometimes footage, but usually video. And when I hit render, just boom. It's going to show the thing rendering. Should be mainly CPU. I don't really remember using any effects that would cause the GPU to engage much, other than Starglow technically is GPU powered, but it's not heavy on the rendering. All right, so that'll render. It says it's going to take 9 minutes, and we'll come back when that's done. Well, while that's rendering, I went away too soon. That was just about 30 seconds ago. We should have this other application running here. We should have RenderBeast cranking these out. So I've got got it all set up to do a quick, easy test. So this would be using square as opposed to circle, and it's essentially going to be exactly the same as the previous animation. The only thing we've changed is, and you know what? Okay, so that's square. Now I want to see what line looks like now that we're rotating the lines. That might actually be really cool too. So we'll come back to that. We still have the size up if I remember correctly. Let's go look at our values here. Where's my size? Oh, shape size 4. Yeah, we're still pretty much bigger. The fractal itself would be inside there. The trap lights are coming out quite a ways. That looks really cool, those waves coming off of there. And the spikiness of that. Let me let that go up to 400 just so we can see a full loop or a full half loop. Well, I don't see a lot of change. It looks like the same thing. Let me just drag it, not wait on it. And yeah, so that's what that's going to look like. Yeah, that's definitely cool. That's worthwhile rendering. I don't need to let. I am, just for curiosity, going to change this to line. What is it? And then run this. That's with line, and we didn't see last time the lines rotating, so I want to see the lines rotating this time. That is really going to be cool. Look at that. I got too much though. I need to turn down something, the visibility probably. We just stop, auto refresh, have that. That's, no. I guess there are other numbers than just halves. 3. What does intensity on surface look like when we have no surface? Don't see a change. Yeah. Softness. I bet you that's where we want to go. That's kind of cool. I guess I got to see that 360 or at 4K. I don't want too much of this oversaturation, but that's good. I'm gonna use that. Let's use that. We're in square. Oh, that's for line. Well, let's go. Yeah, bad process flow, Steve. Bad process flow. Line. It's already 4K, so I'm just going to save. Gold lines. You might as well update the timestamp too. We're now at 11:18. Gold lines, rotating traps. All that's good stuff. I'm just going to burn that, and then we'll do the squares after we do the lines, because I feel like the lines is going to be more interesting. In fact, I got to stop this. Make sure. Yeah. We delete all the images. What are we running here? We're running 3 of those. Make sure we're not going to interfere with this at all. How much we could? Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, we have resources to render, and that's cranking along at a good pace. Hopefully we don't crash that by engaging this at 4K, but we are going to engage it at 4K. That is pretty washed out. I guess I could go to 3. Not washed out. Oversaturated? What's the word I'm looking for? Overexposed? Well, there's another thing we can do. Speaking of, what does turning on high dynamic range do? That actually works. Then I'm worried about them merging with the other images, but high dynamic range works. What? Let me not change things here. Let me change them back over here. I just feel like maybe a 3 on the thickness is better. I can live with a little bit of that, and I want these strong. Let's live with that then. Let me go ahead and save this. And this is now 2. And I'm going to delete out what we did so far. We are still in 4K. We have no other effects on. No. Let's do it. Render. Rendering. An hour. I'd say 40 minutes tops, but let that go. All right, we'll come back. Meanwhile, this is almost done. Couple minutes. We'll be back. Okay, let's see what it looks like. This is what this is what it looks like to the world. This is the final undone version. It's in a perfect loop. That's it. Oh, look at that. So we have a background going forward and a background going backward because I reversed it. First off, that's cool. Is that what I want? Do I want to So I'm ignoring the shape in the middle actually, and I'm totally focused on this background. Yeah, I saw the loop. Why did I see the loop? Why did I see the loop? The background. Just the background pattern changed. That was it. It's very subtle, but there nonetheless. Yeah, just kind of keep replaying this ending to see the loop. So now I just have to decide if I want that background going backward and forward. Now to kill that, well, we'll just go into either one of these and turn off that. And so back here, are we going forward or backwards then? We turn off the wrong one. Well, I don't care if we go forward or backwards. Now I can't tell without doing a quick preview. Let's mark that, hit enter, render out 100 frames. That was not a bad guess for 100 frames, 106. Make the chip cry. Oh, I'm rendering Mandelbulber at the same time. Should be okay, he says. Man, I'm doing too many things at once. Screen capture, Mandelbulber, and video preview. Okay, so we're going away. The stars are going away from us. We're going backwards at a high rate of speed. Oh, damn it. All right, that one on. It was the other one off. It's this one that we needed to turn off. So back here, and then gold circles really needs to get changed. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're going to reveal sequence and project. There's an advanced pro tip that took me literally years to figure out. So let's call this combined instead, and then that'll change the name up here. There's the name here. We're all good. It's all good. We really should have created yet a third project for those two combined instead of using one of them and then laying the other one on top of it. But that's often what I do. Things get chained together like that. Why is... Yeah. That's the right direction I want the stars to go in. That was just wanted to check that. All right, let me save that. I should be saving versions of this now too. And then we get into serious version control. Control M. I hopefully still have the same settings that I just had. Yes. So all I need to do is just hit Q. Should be all ready to go. And it's going to assign... Oh, damn it. I got to put it in the right folder. That's why I didn't want to use those settings. So that's okay. It took 2 seconds. There we go. And this will be called combined now. There we go. All right. Come back in a second. Well, lunch happened and pancakes are on the way. Or actually, I'm midway through pancakes. But anyway, let's take a look and see what this one looks like. This should now be combined with the stars going in the appropriate direction coming towards us. And everything else unchanged. Cool. I dig this. There you go. One long loop. You can really see that Mandelbulber inside there. The traplights really highlight them well occasionally, especially when they come together in the right shape. That's trap. Let me start over and be all dramatic. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Fractal-less-Traplights and how to do them by Stephen Sink here at Laser Fractals, brought to you by the letters Q and R. And I didn't think that through. I don't know where to take the Q and the R. I really should have thought about that. Anyway, that's it. One complete solid loop, and then meanwhile, in at the Render Beast, we're about 540 frames into doing that twisty line, rotated line version. Which, I mean, that right there just looks really cool. I don't know what it is about those scoops. I just love the scoops. Good stuff. Well, 11 minutes. That won't be long. All right, I'll see you here in 11 minutes. Back here, we are done. I had to run just a couple more frames that were lagging. Where we go? Okay, 800 frames. Good, we got them all. Look at that. That's a quick spin through what that scene's going to look like. That is pretty cool. I don't know if that'll even fit in our other scene. That might just be something different, or we just may make something new. But that, I definitely like that. Let's pull that into Adobe and Premiere Pro. And, back here at... We'll minimize all those. Let's make a new bin. And this is rot lines. We'll leave the gold out since everything is gold, it appears today. And then we'll double click inside of it to pull up where we were last. We'll go up to line. I guess I called it line. Yep. And we only have just the color images to bring in. And so I'll call that line. It should be line rot, but that's okay. New sequence from clip. Let's take a look at it. Definitely cool. Definitely cool. Yeah. Well, if we put some stars behind it, we're going to confuse things. Back there, combined. Is there any room in combined for... Well, one thing we can do, if we are already set up to do that, yeah, I believe we did. Yep, we automatically imported the video that we exported, which was one of the settings I had that it took me forever to finally do that. So every time I generate these little semi-test, semi-final... They're finals, but they're like snippets, final snippets. So we have the combined snippet, which was automatically imported in here, which I can just make it a new sequence and then add line on top of it, and then change the FX controls, the blend mode to lighter color is what we've been doing. Look at that. Now that put them all together, but we've got there's a lot of stuff going on there. Well, you probably need to change the color too, but just scrubbing that's the word I'm looking for. Oh, look at that. I love those lines sticking out like that. That might integrate into our scene very nicely. And they're only there for part of it. It's part of the rotation. They rotate all the way out. That's a very cool rotation too. Loving that. I love these lines going out like that. That's badass. Change the color, perhaps? Can I dig back into one of these other ones and figure out what we were using for color? Yeah, we ain't using alpha adjust. Oh, was it on the combined? It was on the combined. Change to color. Let me just copy that. Rather than trying to recreate a lot of wheels, I want them to mesh together, and we got to change this name of combined too, because now we got two combines. That's going to have to be triple. Oops. Right click on it, reveal sequence and project. Left click on it, we'll call it trip combined. Yeah, I'm real inventive here with the names, but we're just trying to work and find our way around things. So we know that line is what the line looks like. We know gold lines was our first lines that we did when we didn't... yeah, and those actually, what does line on top of line look like? Well, I have line open right here. Let me drop it into gold lines. And we'll end up mixing things up and getting complicated. And I haven't saved this file in a long time, and I really should start saving as versions. And I'm going to just put a 2 on here, and that I'm not going to get more complicated than that, but just to give me some things I can go back to. If we get too far down a rabbit hole and really forget where we did things, one thing I need to Control V that. Ooh, look at that. I love that changing color to the blue and the green. That's awesome. Very awesome. We added it onto the big lines we stuck on top, and we haven't changed the blend mode yet to blend those. So let's change that to lighter color. Oh God, that's nice right there. Very nice. Very nice. I probably should. Oh, it will scrub. Will it play? Will it play? It's trying to play. I can rarely get that. That is cool though. I'm going to keep that, right? That's a wrap. Pardon me here for a second. Save that. I am just going to throw a star layer under here, and let's see if I need to change the viewing of any of these layers. Effects controls, we've got lighter color, gold lines, that's one we don't have, lighter color. Boom, and then that lets that background go through. Don't need to change anything on that, I believe, and then just save that again, because I often have crashes when I go to render things. That's another lesson learned. Save often and save frequently, and save with different versions. It's the best lesson I can give for Adobe Premiere Pro, which applies to a bunch of stuff. By default, it went to match source high bitrate, but we want actually a bigger rate than that. We want the H265 best, which I've creatively called that, and there we're going to now finally remember to change this output to T2 Mania video and call this trip. Oh, this was not trip combined. I didn't do trip combined. This is double line. Interesting. Okay, so this is double line, and it's ready to queue, and boom, we'll put that in the hole. And let's go back to here. No, we were going to do square. We never did square. So let me go. First, let me save. I know I got a trap 2 up there, and if we review the video, we can see that this was an unnecessary save. I am absolutely okay with that. I just added a 3 on there just to make sure. Now I want to go into my square folder that I created previously. Square, select folder.
It's time for lunch. This routine will end in 20 minutes.
Alexa's telling me it's time for lunch.
Bon appetit.
I'm not sure what I want to do now. Effects, change that back to square. And I got to see though if the settings need to be tweaked to make it work, because I feel like we moved 4, and I probably need to change the visibility to go to 4 too, but let me render that and see. That might be where we want to go. No, I bet you. Yeah, that's it. Back to 4.4. Okay, let me save that. That's definitely a new version, or an old version. Well, let me just back it all the way up, even to the timestamp. It's now noon, which is great. 12:01. All right. Gold. Squares. Rotated. And I misspelled squares, which I always do. And didn't add a D to gold. That's it. Any other identifying information important here? No. No. Okay. Saving that. Got that running. What's our size? Yep, we're ready to go. I gotta launch my server, and I also have to start that video. All right, see you on the other side. I'm like a giddy schoolgirl. All right, I want to see you immediately. What's going on? So we're crunching away, working on those squares. It did not take long to get into the squares. I had to delete out the old frames that we had done before previously. So I did a couple of frames and then realized I had to delete them all out. I many times would have finished that out and forgotten that I had a few draft frames in there. So that's running. This is square, and the square is going to be really cool, and I think we're going to have yet another version. But while this was rendering, I saw the double line, and it looked really cool. Let's take a look. Double line, give it a double click, and then another double click, and look at that. Look at that blue and the green, and then the gold, and the star background. Trippy, psychedelic, very. I wasn't quite going for that psychedelic effect, but I will take it. I will take it. Look at that, damn. Unqualified success. 2 thumbs up. would definitely make an NFT out of it. Well, you know, if this becomes a very famous video that thousands of people will watch, they'll say, yes, I own that NFT that I purchased for, yeah, don't get me started on that rabbit hole. Anyway, wow, look at that. Stop with that so that your computer can render and so that you can edit this video and get it out to the world. Meanwhile, though, we have yet that last version to add. So we're going to come back in 27 minutes and have another version and mix that in. And we might have 3 final products. And then we might mix those 3 final products into a 4th product, if that's even possible, and not too noisy or just too much. We'll see. Look at that. That's going to be cool. I like this already. All right. See you in 20 minutes or so, and then we'll start chaining them together. How many frames do we have? Because those other clients, yeah, we still have 70 frames to go. Let's scrub through here real quick and see what we got, though. Oh, look at that. Look at that. So that's going to go from a resting state of completely round, yet square roundness. Then we get into this definitely Mandelbulber wavy shape. And then we get into, ooh, I missed it. There was a place where they all come together in a grid pattern like that. That's going to be cool. And I bet you, I don't mean to spoil things, or maybe I'll tease things, but this particular shape and configuration works awesome rotating it against itself in an alternate phase. So basically you take 2 of these, color one of them a different color, and then rotate it the opposite direction like we rotated earlier. But you can do that to the same image, and this will look really good against itself or against any. Oh yeah, we're about done here, folks. This is going to be sweet. Look at that. That's a shot from heaven, hell, angels, beings, awesomeness. Back here in our project, we're ready to create a folder real quick for that other, we're ready to create a bin for what are we calling it? It's basically squares. And we'll just call it squares. And I always misspell squares, and will continue to misspell squares until the day I die. I don't know why I do that. Anyway, here we go. Squares, and then we got to wait a couple minutes for that to actually finish before we can import it. But we're about a minute away, so I'll be back here in just a second. Okay, our final version. It's ready. Let's load it up. Let's see. We got squares. Double click inside of it to get back to where we were. Square should be just those there to load up. Load it up. We're going to call them squares. Watch me carefully type in squares correctly. Look at that. Steve can learn. Steve can learn. We're going to give it its own sequence. Hit space bar to get that started, and then let's just watch that. That is pretty cool. Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely like that. See, I'm gonna already hit space bar, hold down on the Alt key and drag that up to duplicate it, right click on it, go to speed duration, reverse speed, hit OK, hit space bar, not space bar, hit enter to then bring up the rendering pane there and have it render away. Hit Control Shift Escape to bring up Task Manager. Yeah, CPU's running, but the GPU's not doing much here. There's literally no GPU effect whatsoever going here, and we're not making actual video. It's just making a preview. Premiere Pro uses the CPU often to do previews, and it will use the GPU to do a final. Thank God, which makes video take like 30 seconds where it would take an hour before. I mean, it's just astronomically faster using the video card. Hence the benefits of Mandelbulber versus Mandelbulber 3D as a side point. Look at that. That's freaking cool. I'm going to hit Control Caret on my computer, which I set up as a hotkey to do full and big. And that is pretty cool. As a render, that maybe could have been a tiny bit brighter, but you know, once we put some glow on it and we didn't hit the loop button, we did not hit the loop button. Yeah. And save that. And let's take a look at it. Is it going to loop perfectly? Yes, perfect loop. Awesome. So now integrating this. Oh, sorry. I forgot to. We're not seeing them. Sorry, I'm stupid. I forgot to hit lighter color. We're only seeing the one. We're not seeing them against each other. I was just seeing it in reverse, which was cool too. Sorry, guys. The point of doing that was to mix them together. And they don't mix together naturally because I don't have embedded PNGs going. But in this case, simply mixing them together in Adobe Premiere Pro using that lighter color blend mode. I should just say blending them together instead of mixing them together in blend mode. And then I could have just rendered half of this or a fraction of it instead of the full thing. But and honestly, this might be its own video, and I want to use just one of those shells and not both of them together rotating against each other. And I need to really change one of the colors of them. In fact, I'm going to do that next. Regardless of how this looks, I'm going to go back and add that blue-green plugin that we made. That's awesome, by the way. I just added that to my bag of tricks. I'm going to use that from henceforth now and forever. Literally just stumbled into that in this video. That's awesome. Okay, look at that. Oh my God. That's fucking awesome. Pardon the French. That's fucking awesome. I speak lots of French. If that was two different colors, that would be super cool. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, I love it when they all come together. In fact, this illustrates how we only have to do half of them because I think the other half is the same as the first half. But, oh, yeah. Here we go with the loop. What's it going to look like at the loop? Yeah, that is awesome. So let me save that. Let me make a version 3 here because I feel like we're about ready to really significantly go off the rails here. I got to add that color first. Let's dip back into who's got the color for us. There's that color. Change to color. Control C to copy that, dip back over to squares, Control V to paste that in. Ooh, look at that. That, I don't even have to, oh, for a second I didn't have to. Come on. Sometime the video card will kick in and just render it all without having to preview render it. There we go. There we go. See, that's a version all by itself. All by itself. Well, I'm in now Trapmania 3, so let me save that, Control S. Let me hit Control M. Since I'm still in the video pane, let me go back up to Best and turn off the audio since we didn't add any audio. Remember to finally put that in the right place, but we did it last time, so we remembered, so we're in the right place. So really, this is not square, well, it's squares, but it's squares versus square v squares. Is what I'm going to call it. And otherwise we're ready to go. Hit Q. That throws it over here to Adobe Media Encoder, which I didn't really talk about, but there's not a lot to talk about with it. But this is fun. I need to do more of this. So anyway, this is what Adobe Media Encoder looks like when it's crunching video. I like it because if there's some weirdness in the video because of a plugin broke or a video card broke or something, or I'm attempting to do a tutorial at the same time that I'm using this to make a high quality video. I can see it here in the preview pane a lot of times, and I can see a bad frame. I can see when something got messed up, and honestly, if it's going quickly enough as it is in this case, it's just kind of cool and trippy to watch that slowly change. You really get a good idea. It's hard to actually get a frame, click, 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 view of the scene like that through the regular viewer. So I often watch the renders as they go on here in Media Encoder. I have the entire Adobe suite, and I wish I didn't have to pay for it. And I know there's a lot of open source options, and by all means use all of those, maximize those free open source options. I have to have this for work. Well, that's a cop-out. I use on my work computer, I have this, so I therefore feel like I should use it in my home life, which is ridiculous. But I love it. I love it. I love it. It's very powerful and does a lot of good stuff for me. But anyway, this tutorial is mainly about Mandelbulber, but it's mainly about my workflow, and I use a lot of the Adobe products to do stuff. So Adobe, if you want to sponsor me, get with NVIDIA and mail me a big old sack of video cards and put Adobe stamps on them, and I'll do Adobe videos all day long with those. But until that happens, he says, schlepping for 27 seconds for this to finish so we can watch this video. You know what? Steve forgot to put a freaking star field behind it. Which I can still do. I can take this video and then put a star field behind it, actually. But which, now that I think about it, might be more useful, because once I add the star field video like I did before, I can't reverse it without the star field going backwards. So never mind. We're going to say I did this on purpose. I deliberately did not put a star field in there. But it just now occurred to me to think about that as an option. Okay. Click on this. It should open up the square, or up the folder here, which I have several of them open now. Squares versus squares. Let's take a look and see what squares versus squares looks like. Yeah, that's really cool. Yep. Yep, definitely cool. Look at that. Look at the squares rotating as they're supposed to on 3 planes. And then there's lots of stuff going on here inside, just with these little barely visible trap lights, which, oh man, that's all kinds of cool. Okay, all right, another unqualified success there. But let's pull in these together. Let's go back, look at gold circles. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we really like that. Let's look at combined. And I believe what's the difference between gold circles and combined is just simply that we did I can't even remember if I can do video at the same time. If I have my settings set up, I don't think I have my settings set up to do that. Nope, I have play in one video player. Anyway, and then double line. Which is super cool. And I think some of these mixed together are going to be really cool. So, all right, so let's go back into Premiere Pro. We'll definitely keep squares where it is. Triple combined is made up of, oh man, that's awesome. Have I done that? Have I really ran that? I can't now remember if I ran that itself. Was that one of the things I ran? Trip combined? Do I have trip combined? No, I have not ran that as its own clip. Oh gosh, guys, you know, when you keep coming back to things too, and then you have multiple things going, regardless, even if I have, doesn't matter. Trip combined, you are now a clip if you were or not before. Add that to the queue, and we can render that at any time, but just to be sure, because that looks cool regardless. We did the squares. We definitely did that. We may have a few too many things going now. I have to start killing some stuff. Let's see. Gold lines. I want to kill all the star fields. So I just want to get rid of star fields. We'll keep gold lines where it's at. Gold circles, same thing. I don't want any star fields. Combined. I'm not going to play with combined right now, but I am going to keep it active. Oh gosh, see, I don't, there's so many good, so many good combos. Okay, and then what do we have? That's it. So what I want to do is, I really don't want to go to my video. I want to go to my layers. I want to go to my layers that do not have, and let's go gold circles. First of all, I mean, double click that. That's gold circles. Okay. Is it? Gold circles. Got it. So I want to go gold circles, and I'm going to go, if it'll let me, it won't let me right click on it. There we go. New sequence from clip. And I'm going to call this all combined, even though it's not all combined because we'll end up doing different things to it, but all combined has gold circles in it. I really don't want all those sound things in it, and that the anal part of me is going to unlink it and kill the sound. There are better ways to do that, but we have gold circles in here. Let's get gold lines in here. Double click gold lines. Yep. Okay. Go back to all combined. Add gold lines in here. And I'm not going to stack them on top of each other yet. I just want to make sure we have them. Gold circles. Yeah. Gold lines. See, I'm not using the nested. I don't want to get too much into this, but that's a nested. That's nested and that's not nested. That's the actual line itself. Let me see how it's set to blend. It's set to screen blend. Let me just automatically change that to lighter color. What's this one set at? Set to normal. I'm going to change it to lighter color. Let me go inside of it and see what they're set at. See, it's set to screen, and I'm going to set it to lighter color. Don't know if I need to go and change the ones inside of them like that. I believe I do. I believe it needs to blend everywhere like I want it to blend. Back to all combined. So I have gold lines, gold circles, and I had 2 gold lines, didn't I? Oh man. Ooh, I like that. But yeah, let me just add that in as its own sequence regardless. Oh, I need to change the name is what needs to happen. This is lines versus lines, and then back at lines versus lines we'll add that in. New sequence, which I don't actually want to look at that. I want to go to all combined and add line versus lines as a nested folder without sound. Unlink. There's no sound in there. It's empty. I just hate the idea of this empty sound file sitting there. So that's line versus line. Yep. Oh, and it's got stars in it. Can we take the stars out of it? Let's take stars out of it for now. Even though that ruins this as a project. That ruins line versus lines as a project, but that's okay. We're using it as a nested here. All right, so we have no stars, no stars, no stars. All right, awesome. Squares. Let's get squares in here. Is squares ready to just drop in? Yeah. Squares versus squares is what that is actually. Damn it. Where is squares? Oh, I never did a single square. That's my disconnect. I only have squares versus squares. So I need to add that in as both then, I guess. So let me go back to all combined. Grab squares, drop it in, and duplicate it. And I guess for now, slide these next to each other. Kill that space in there. All right, so that's going to be the 2 against each other. That's just the 1. That's just the second. Okay. Just for organization, to keep track of all of our variants. That's what we're doing here. We're keeping track of, I should announce what we're doing here. We're keeping track of all of our variants, and we have one version of all of them on screen now. Do we have everything that we did today? Well, not really, because we did double lines again. Oh, there's our double lines. There's a gold. Didn't we do a gold and gold? That would have been... Did we? I can make one. Let me duplicate this, slide it over here, duplicate that, slide it over here. And if we didn't have it, we're going to make one. Make sure we're setting so that we can look through it. Lighter color, lighter color. Probably want to put, boom. Did I put it on the right one? I Control V, I still had that color in the buffer. This time we made the colorway, the square part the color and kept the fire inside, which, well, let me dump it on this one, Control V, go back to this one, and I'll just turn the effect off. Come to here, well that's too far. Come to here, set up that, and let that render a preview. 269, that was not 100 frames. Oh, I guess I'm out here, zoomed way out, so 100 frames would have been like just a snippet, I guess. That's okay. It's not taking that long. All right, what do we got? Oh, I feel like I want to reverse that around. I feel like I want to turn that one back on, and I guess just turn that one off, and then run it again and see what we get. Forgot that we had turned the volume down, so I may have just ruined a whole bunch of video. Ah, look at that. Okay, I don't have the repeat on. Let me turn the repeat back on. Keep running. I don't know. You know, no one says I can't make that red, by the way. I probably should need to save this. And it won't let me, oh, because I turned it off. Ah, I'm in the wrong layer. This is the layer I want to be in. And I want to turn this to red. Too much. I didn't really change much, did I? Is that going to work? Why isn't that changing it to black? That's interesting. Don't know, never used this plugin before. Tolerance. There we go. Excuse me. Asthma. That's what I needed to get. Oh, softness. You see, there's a lot of values here I could have played with here that I haven't played with softness. Let's change the softness. What do we get? Nothing that I can tell. Saturation, lightness, hue. Yeah. A little or a lot. Change by setting to color versus transforming to color. Change hue and lightness. Now that's a cool effect. Look at that. See, I was hoping we were going to just randomly luck into something, but that looks pretty cool, although I want more hue. I want more hue. No, I don't. There's somewhere in between there. Maybe I want... That looks pretty cool. Oh, softness. Interesting how you change one parameter and then it changes another parameter, and then I want that more red. Ah. Not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be that. That's what I want. That's what I want. And then turn the hue down even more. Turn it down even, or yeah, turn it down even less. Turn it down even more. Yeah. I don't know what effect I'm going for. I'm just looking for stuff that looks cool. So let me go back and see what hue and saturation does. And then hue, lightness, and saturation. Don't know that I'm seeing any difference in those settings, and I think I need more hue. I haven't changed the lightness at all. I don't see what that does. Saturation I really don't want to change, but I am going to change it anyway, just see what happens. Huh. Interesting. No idea what's going on here. No idea if any of these are changing anything. Where's my randomize function? All right, we'll leave it there. That's. I could just keep playing all day. No brilliance leaped out at me. Clearing out. What do we got here? So we got gold against gold. That was a new variant. Squares. Let's go back and chunk in the star field. Oh gosh, I had to move everything up a level. There we go. Give it room to sit in, and Alt drag it around a few times. It doesn't really matter. There we go. That worked perfectly. Save that. Send that to. Oops. One more time. Send this to be rendered. We're going to render all of it. I'm not going to add any audio here yet. Queue that up. Change word. No, all combined. Yep, that's ready to go. All right. See you on the other side. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. We did 2. Haha, we did 2. Let's take a look at it. How many windows do I have now? Oh, let me close out some of these. Yeah, that's really cool. Love those green strands coming off. I bet you I could have, since I have 3 layers or more, I could have gone 1 additional color altogether. And some more red in there would have worked great. What color is materially missing? Obviously you have yellow. I guess red is about really what we're missing. They've got blue and green. Purple. Definitely cool. All right, we got some variants. Last one's working away, about 5 more minutes. And this is why I watch the preview as it renders, because I realize I don't have the star field on in every case. I guess I could stop let's just stop that. Darn it, Bob. Well, yeah. So go back and look it through this. What do we got here? Effect controls. Lighter color. Where did we mess up at? That's where we messed up. Normal. Should have been lighter color. And lighter color. Normal. Lighter color. We're not going to see through all those layers. There we go. Star field. See, another one. Darn it. Lighter color. This is not the 20 millionth time that I've done that either. Normally I go back and check. Okay. That's what we got. All right. Do we want to combine any of these together, by the way, now that we... Yeah, that's one thing we didn't really do since we now have them all together. Let's try. I'm going to have to hit the caret to go to the big screen, and I'm holding Alt and dragging each time, and dragging, and oops, dragging. Won't give me any more. Yeah, I was going to say, what's up with that? Suddenly limit me on the number of... Oh, and this is... I don't need the space in here. Let's see if I can kill it. Yeah, I can't kill it. Go back. Let me get the cursor here. Turn the... Minimize all tracks to squish that down. Go back over to here. pull down. I don't have any audio, which we're going to add some audio to this in a sec. Is that even worth doing? Well, we're going to render the whole damn thing and then just wait on it. And while that's rendering, we're going to go look for music. So let me mark. Another thing, let me go back. We didn't put a star field under it. And okay, star field. And let me zoom in a little bit here, slide that back to there, and then output super mega combined is what we're going to call that. Super mega combined. Are we rendering 60 mega? I don't need to change anything. Don't need to change anything. Just queue that up. Then let me go back over to here, take off, clear in and out, and then we'll render, go to press home, Control M, and we'll send the whole thing. The problem with using all combined and super mega combined is that you run out of superlatives. Let's see, so we'll call this, sometimes I resort to Japanese when I run out of English, Zenbu, which means all. That really means all if I'm using Japanese. Welcome to my workflow. Okay, we're ready to render those out. So let's come back on the other side of that. Okay, we are about done. So the last two videos finished. Let's look at the super mega combined first. This is going to be all the layers all going together. Okay. That's cool. I mean, not like super amazing, but that's pretty cool. I was hoping it was going to be cooler than that. Still, I didn't plan to put all the layers together anyway, so that's what they all look like together. That's cool. I feel like something are missing though. Are they all there? I see lines. I see, oh, okay, I see circles, I see squares. Okay, yep. And just the one star background. So all okay. Are we through that whole loop? Let's look at, here we go, 3, 2, 1. Don't notice the loop transition at all. Okay. So that's all of them. So then let's look at, oh, Zenbu. Yeah, Japanese. So this would be all of them then. How long is this? This lasts 3.5 minutes? Well, at this rate, let's just put some music to this. I mean, it seems silly to watch the whole thing for 3.5 minutes, then watch it again with some music. So 3.5 minutes. We'll change the time code here so I can see where that's at. And then we can repeat any of these loops. So, yeah. Look at that, 3.5 minutes. Project. Let me close all of these up here. Do some organizing. I'm going to take all of these MP3, all those, and make that a new bin. And that's going to be, I don't know, clips. Not that I'm just cleaning up. Okay, I need to bring in some music. I keep my music on my E drive, sync music masters, and I have length set up in the field here so that I can sort by length, go down to 3.5. So let's see. Hey, we have a song called Fractals. That seems appropriate. We'll pull that in. This is the, oh, that can't be right. Oh, I'm way off. There we go. This is the song that it's in the key of F and it's in piano, and I did it. There you go. That looks pretty good. And I did it in the key of F, so I looked for a word that started with F to name it. I named it Fractals, and literally because of this song, I tried to find a fractal image. I discovered Mandelbulber 3D software, and then quickly discovered Mandelbulber soon after. Very soon, I mean like a week later. Alright, so then since we already rendered all that, we got Zimbu here. Let me just make Zimbu a new sequence. Slide fractals in there. Hey, my UPS package was delivered. And that's it. Just export that video out, and that's ready to go. I mean, it doesn't have any titles or anything on it, and I'm not going to share all that, bore you with all the titling and all that crap on it. And I'm going through a transition now where I don't really have a good logo, which Dennis Bops helped me on. So hopefully we'll get some of that going here soon. Zimbu, we're going to call this Trap Mania. And the song is Fractals Solo Piano, and that's it. We're going to save it in this folder, and this time I want that. Well, they're both these two settings are actually exactly the same. In different versions of Adobe have merged them together. So H265 best Q with this time with the audio, and it should only take a few seconds. In fact, I can probably do it. Now this is going to use the graphic card a lot, so this might affect. See, look, that's 100%. Yeah, but it's crunching away. I suspect if I wasn't running this tutorial, we would almost be done by now. It's only going to take a few seconds. I'm really surprised it's not crashing. The video might be stuttering for all I know, since it's running 100%. This card is very good at being able to display video and also render video at the same time, as if they're like two separate parts of the chip. And so even though one's engaged and it says it's going 100%, it actually still has half of the video card that's not doing anything that can do something. I render with this card all the time and watch video on YouTube all the time, and it doesn't stutter. I love the 2070. I think it's just a brilliant card. It's the best video card I've ever owned. If I can get my hands on a 30 series, I'd play with that, and we'd have a lot of fun. Look at that. Well, this is going just fast enough for me to just wait for it to get done, and that's pegged 100%, so we'll let that stay 100% and not care about it, but it'll be done here in a second, and then we'll just watch the video. And won't that be sweet? Now that we've seen most of it, well, if you've been watching the preview, you see exactly what it's going to look like. I didn't add any effects on top of here either. I know we added that star glow to it, but I didn't add any lighting changes whatsoever in post-production, like with just no color correction, no nothing. This actually wasn't really intended to even be a final. I mean, just for purposes of this tutorial, I'm like, let's make a final video, but normally this would be nowhere close to being final. Again, I'd have to put titles on there. The music doesn't exactly match the whole video, which is not good either. Anyway, but that's roughly what I do. 90% of the time I would actually sync the music to the Fractal and ahead of time, and I would have picked out the song and made the video to match the song. But sometimes I make a video and then put a song with them. In this case, we did that. All right, it's just thinking about, it's just storing the file somewhere and it's done. All right, let's watch it. How many windows do I have open now? 5. Okay. Trap Mania Fractal Solo Piano.